This is my drawing for how I hope the bathrooms will be made. There's going to be a central block dividing the two shower rooms within the 4 metre square area that we've allocated for those, and then two blocks coming up either side to about 1 metre high, and then there'll be a block going across to meet the central block to provide a shelf the full length of the shower room, which will be just above the toilet and the basin at one end, and will continue through the shower area itself. A nice shelf to put all your rubbish on. Anyway, this is my little mock-up of how I think it will be built. Let me move around the other side where the lights may be better. There we go. I think that's a bit better. Yeah, so the idea is that the central wall will be one skin, and there'll be a reinforced beam underneath that to take the weight, and then the other two walls, which will form cavities either side, will be built on the CPAC base, because they're only going to be 1 metre high. And then the idea is that our water in will go into this gap here, and we will puncture holes through the wall at the appropriate places to take the pipes through like that. And then on this side and this side, of course, you will have your bathroom fittings, your taps, your basins, your shower head, etc. So that's the theory, and that's what I'm basing the placing of the main pipes, the main drainage pipes on, because I need to provide them a certain distance away from the finished wall, which I've calculated as being 2.5 centimetres from this edge, because that takes into account their screeding and then the tiling. So I can place my waste pipes at the appropriate distances for the outlets for the sink and the toilets, and it also means that when I'm manufacturing my pipes, I can gauge how long they need to be before the fitting end. And they like to basically cover up all the pipe that sticks out right up until where you screw your fitting into. So I don't particularly like that myself for some reason. I like it to stick out a little bit so I can see it better and grab hold of it when I'm screwing something into the thread. But there you go. So that's my design. I've discussed it with Suntaray, and she says, oh well, you know, you should let the builder decide how he's going to make it. And I think, well, that's all very well, but it means we can't place any of these pipes in the correct position. We can't put any CPAC base down or start doing any of that extra work. Everything's got to be put on hold, and I want to do the plastic pipes because I want to make sure there's plenty of glue on each joint, so I feel more comfortable that I can get a non-leak system first time and not leave it to somebody who really doesn't want to put much glue on, and then we end up with leaks everywhere. And I want to test the system before we do any block work. I want actually all the pipes to be in place and to be able to seal the ends off, and then hook up the pump and actually put the whole system under pressure, so I can guarantee that there are no leaks before we start burying pipes behind these walls. Well, we got the first panel on, but it was a bit of a struggle. They've done the trim on this side, and they didn't frankly make a great job of it. They've had to set it a couple of times, and the screws holding it down on the top are a little bit out of line with each other, and I think they haven't really thought about how to put the panels on, because each one they've got to put on now, they have to push it under the existing one, and it would have been better if they turned them, started at the other end, and they are able to, each new panel, to lay it on top of the one that's already existing. Just make it a little bit easier to get it in, and probably less damage. Anyway, it's all hands to the deck, because when we lift these panels up now, they're so long and large and heavy that it takes 3 of us to get it up to the roof level, and then 2 of them to haul it up. Well, they've certainly put a full day in today. The light is fading. They're just finishing off one side of the roof, putting the trim on. A little bit of cheating going on here, but it doesn't make any difference to us. I'll explain in a moment. So when we put the order in, the lady assured us we needed 38 panels. Because the panels are 80 centimetres wide, but in fact, because there's an overlap on each panel, it only covers 75 centimetres. So I calculated we needed 20.27 panels. So we've used 20 on this side, and the 0.27 equates to 20 centimetres. And that means that we would have to buy a complete panel and cut it twice, because we would need a different end. We'd need to use the side with the we'd need to use the side of the panel to make it overlap properly and connect with the next panel. So we'd need to buy an extra panel and cut it twice and use 40 centimetres width out of the 80 that there is. Rather than do that, we've discovered that the trim that they supply will cover the gap adequately, and it will be screwed down to the to the upright bit of the roof where all those fixings are anyway, so it will provide an adequate watertight seal. And of course, although you can see that there isn't a silver lining on the very end, it doesn't matter because this is actually the end of the house overhanging. So we don't need the insulation on this bit, in fact, and indeed it will be covered up by plasterboard anyway, so we won't see it. So what they'll do tomorrow for the second half is they will start laying the boards 10 centimetres in from the edge, so that there's a gap at each end, but it's a smaller gap, so it's more likely to be watertight. The trim is 23 centimetres wide and the gap is 20 centimetres, and the trim is shaped so that it goes down. This is obviously upside down, but effectively this is 23 centimetres from here to here, and we need, this is 23 centimetres and we need 20 before we go over the ridge of the roof. So effectively the ridge is there, and then this goes down the other side of the ridge. So hey ho, a little bit of cheating, but it saves a lot of cutting and it saves us buying an extra panel. We need to buy 2 panels extra anyway, but they're not that cheap, so it'll save us a few baht.